As recently, 11 posts of DLO ALR have been advertised by JKPSC, and soon the exam will be conducted. Uh, right now, I am working as ALR, and I am receiving a lot of calls and messages. So I thought that I should make a voice note, or in the form of voice note. I should record this and tell you the scheme of exam and the work profile of ALR, and what are the requirements and how much you need to study, and the way you should study for qualifying this exam. It's a very good opportunity for every one of you, and anyone having 2 years experience can fill up the form. And firstly, I'll come to the work profile of this job. It's a decent job, level 8, with the rank of under secretary and gazetted, obviously. uh, as You can be posted either as DLO or as ALR. DLO is district litigation officer and ALR is assistant legal remembrancer. So basically, the DLOs are posted in the district. In each district, there is one post of DLO, and he's a district officer. And his main job is to monitor the litigation of the district, whole district, and to deal with the contempt cases of the of higher officials of the district, and to ensure the filing of replies, and to to this all the standing councils. He has to liaison with the standing councils and ensure the proper handling of the cases in the district courts, and also in the the matters that are related to the district and pending before the high courts. So that is the job profile of district litigation officer. As ALR, you get posted in some department of the state. Like, there are many departments: home department, GAD, law department, forest department, rural development department, and many others. And every department needs a law officer. So the main task of ALR is to monitor the litigation of the particular department. And in each department there are various HODs, subordinate departments. So all the litigation of a particular department is dealt by the means ALR and the other higher officials. So the hierarchy in this a job is like: ALR, firstly comes the ALR, the rank of under secretary, then DLR, deputy legal remembrancer, he's the rank of the rank of deputy secretary, then additional secretary, then special secretary, then secretary. This is the hierarchy in the department. So as ALR, mostly the most important thing is to monitor the contempt cases which are filed against the head of the department, like the commissioner secretaries, the principal secretaries, the secretaries to the government, and the various other cases like the writs, like the cases in CAT, etc. And now coming to the the syllabus. As we know that there are 8 subjects prescribed in the syllabus, and the most tricky part is, which everyone feels, is jurisprudence and international law. But I'll come to each subject one by one, and I will tell you that what are the sources that are required to be studied, and how you have to study, and how many multiple choice questions need to be solved for this. So firstly, let's come with the CRPC. CRPC has to be, firstly, before that, I'll tell you that a very exhaustive reading, comprehensive study is required. Don't just think that it is a pre-based question paper will come, and it's just a pre-based exam. The attitude should not be like this, because now, if you look at the recent exam that was conducted, the pattern is totally different. You need to have a comprehensive study. You need to read a lot of books, cases, and you need to revise a lot, because the analytical questions are being asked, and the standard has been raised by JKPSC very high. The standard is very high now. So firstly, with the CRPC, you need to I think for CRPC, this Kelkar lecture on Kelkar, this lecture on civil procedure, criminal procedure code by Kelkar. It's a small book. There are 2 books of Kelkar. One is bigger and one is smaller. You can pick any one, but I think smaller will be sufficient, and you have to read it by heart, and read it along with the Bare Act. So in Bare Act, if there are 483 sections, you need to read every section you have to read it, and you have to remind and remember at least 80% of the sections by heart. You must know the hierarchy, you must know the sequence of sections, you must know the contents of the section, every small thing, where there is shall used, may used, what is the like periods of limitations, everything, schedules, everything has to be read by heart. And the book should be read with the bare act. And after that, well, you have to solve a lot of multiple choice questions. Regarding multiple choice questions, firstly I will tell you about the books, then I'll come to multiple choice, books for the multiple choice questions. Then comes the IPC, Indian Penal Code. For that, I have read Pillai, because I was preparing since 2018 for judiciary and legal exams. So for Pillai, you should read either for IPC you should read either Pillai or KD Gore. But I went for Pillai and I supplemented it with KD Gore. One can choose any of the two books. Pillai is like a very heavy commentary, bigger one, and it's in the form of a commentary. But it makes the concepts very clear. If you have not done coaching for judiciary, like I have not done any coaching for judicial services or any legal exam, so I prefer reading the books. And it should be read along with bare act. Bare act, maybe you should know all the sections, punishments, the sequence of sections. Mostly 70% sections you have to remember. The punishments also need to be remembered. And they ask these questions. And then you have to solve a lot of multiple choice questions. Then coming to the CPC, the best book is Takwani. I have heard about Mulla also, the smaller one, the student version. I have heard that it is a very good book, but I did not get the opportunity to read it. I have read the Takwani. Takwani, teaches you in a very comprehensive way, and it links the sections as well as the orders. It's a very good commentary for CPC. And then you have to read along with the bare act, obviously. In the bare act you have to try to remember all the sections. The sections kitni 150 sections hai, and try to remember all the sections. And orders, regarding orders, in orders you must be knowing the order number 1 is this, order number 2 is this, 3 is this, 4 is this. You must be knowing the name of the order, which order deals with which what. And regarding rules, I'll suggest you to read all the rules. You may obviously skip, like this order 21 is a bigger order, and you may skip it, because it won't be possible to read all the 106 rules. As far as I remember, there are 106 rules in order 21. So you need not to remember every one or read every rule, but still mostly you have to read it. And when you read it with commentary, I think that helps a lot. And after that, again, multiple choice questions. Then coming to the constitution, for constitution, since I prepared for UPSC optional as well, so I have read many books for constitution, like VN Shukla. Firstly I read VN Shukla. It's a very good book, but it's quite bulky. uh, in the end, I switched to JN Pandey. So Pandey is a beautiful book, and the language is very simple, and it is very updated book, and with a simple language. So try to read Pandey by heart. It will help you in every legal exam, every judicial services or prosecuting officer or any other exam. So read the book comprehensively. Along with bare act, you need to remember 90% of the articles. Like what is article 71, 72, 73, 77, 78, 123, 143. Means every article should be, remembered by heart. For example, 108, article 109, 110 money bill, 111 annual financial statement, I think so. And you need to remember that, and schedules as well. uh, Read the schedules. And this can be supplemented with Lakshmikant is also very precise and very simple book, so it helps a lot. So these three things, Bear Act, Jain Pandey, and Lakshmikant, this should be the source for the constitution. And again, a lot of multiple choice questions. So now coming to the the tricky part, like torts, contracts, jurisprudence, and international law. So firstly coming to the taught के लिए rely upon this Bangia by Allahabad Law series. It's a good book. It will help you to to qualify this exam, and but it should be read very comprehensively, and focus on the cases. You should read at least read 2-3 times all the cases, and then try to remember the important cases and concepts. Obviously build your concepts, and thoughts के लिए this much is sufficient, and along with this a lot of multiple choice. Contract, again Bangya. I've read Avtar Singh, but I will not suggest that book because it's a bit complicated and there are a lot of English cases and a lot of commentary that is not required. So Bangya will be sufficient, along with Bear Act from section 1 to this 73 or 74 sections. So try to remember all the sections, try to remember the chapters also, and the first few sections are very tricky, so you need to supplement it with the book obviously, and try to remember the illustrations in IPC as well and in contract also. So again, this is sufficient. Bangya is sufficient along with Direct and a lot of multiple choice questions. Now coming to the jurisprudence is a very dry subject. It's very not very much interesting subject, and for that I have referred three books. One is Pranchpe, one is BN Tripathi, I guess. It's BN Tripathi by Allahabad Law series, and one was one book I'm not able to recall that, some BD Majan. So I have read the three books, but I'll suggest you to not to use BD Majan, just use two books. First priority should be BN Tripathi. It will make your concepts clear. It will help you, but it's not comprehensive enough, and so it should be supplemented by branch pay. And you have to cram a lot of statements. That has to be crammed, but it can be crammed only when you understand the concept, and for understanding the concept you have to read it multiple times. Then only you will be able to internalize the things, and these two books will be sufficient along with a lot of multiple choice questions. Then coming to international law, I've been preparing for UPSC optional for the initial 3 years. So I have read like Agarwal, I have read Kapoor, I have read Malcolm Shah. But for this exam, I'll suggest you to use H.O. Agarwal, and supplement definitely 30% or 20-30% supplement. You have to supplement it by S.K. Kapoor. But in Agarwal you have to read approximately 60 to 70% chapters. Don't rely on syllabus. Just don't look at the syllabus. The syllabus should be like 8 subjects only. Don't go into the topics that are mentioned in the syllabus. The PSC will not restrict itself to the just those topics. So in H.O. Agarwal, you have to be smart. You have to find out the important chapters by yourself. Like law of the sea is important, treaties is important, this definitions part is important, and you have to remind 5-6 authors have given the definitions, and you have to distinguish between those. What is the difference between those? Because all of those look similar, but the definitions are quite different. So you have to read by heart and try to understand those things, and this H.O. Agarwal will be sufficient. Reading a book at least 3 4 5 times. Firstly you have to read it 3 4 5 times, then after that try to make notes, not in short form, but kind of a bigger little comprehensive notes. You have to do that, because in the end you won't be able to open up the books and you need your own notes. So if you make bigger notes, then after that you can make the synopsis. But for that you have to read the bigger notes firstly for 3 4 times at least. After that you have to obviously try to remember the facts, and then you should make the synopsis is very important, because before the exam you will be having a few pages, and then only you will be able to recall and revise and remember everything. So firstly reading the books, then making the notes, then making synopsis. So if you do this much, then your 30-40% of just the journey is done still. After that, a lot of MCQs have to be solved, and for MCQs I will suggest a few books. I personally have solved all the MCQs of those books. For example, first comes the Singles, 4 volumes. I still remember that there are about 700 MCQs of international law and 500, 600 of jurisprudence, exactly 1400 MCQs of CPC, and 2500 plus MCQs of constitution, and similar IPC, CRPC. So mostly they have repeated the MCQs. In singles you will find quantity as well as quality, no doubt. क्वालिटी थोड़ी सी कम है, मतलब कम क्वेश्चंस होंगे इन प्रोपोर्शन टू द क्वांटिटी. So they have repeated a lot of questions. There are many one liners, so try to do that. It will help you. You have to do that. After that, take that book, either there is a book called this Universal's Guide to Judicial Services. It has both pre as well as mains covered, so it has multiple choice questions. If you don't want to buy a bigger book, you can buy the smaller version, the multiple choice questions by Vinay Kumar Gupta. It is the same book only. It's just in the form of multiple choice questions, excluding the mains part. So either you can buy the guide, Universal's Guide, or you can go with that this Vinay Kumar Gupta. But the point, the Vinay Kumar Gupta, in Vinay Kumar Gupta you will find very quality MCQs. I think CRPC and IPC, I think they have 400 to 500 or 600 MCQs, but they are very tough MCQs and very quality level MCQs. So you will find quantity in singles and quality in this Vinay Kumar Gupta. Try to solve these. Then go for one more thing, Universal's Guide for LLM. In that you will get jurisprudence and international law and tort contract as well, and IPC constitution also. These are also covered in that. But mostly for jurisprudence and international law, just go for this Universal's Guide for LLM. It will really help you. And these three things. And if you want to do more, then there is one more book, that is this MCQs for UP Judiciary by OP Tripathi. I have solved those. The quality is not quite good, but it will be good for you, for practicing the MCQs. And jurisprudence and international law, I still remember that it has 300 to 400 each for jurisprudence and international law, and those were good. And these are the 4 sources of MCQ. If you want to then go beyond, then try to go into the mind of the examiner, that he may what he will try to do. For example, he may type on internet like MCQs for jurisprudence or MCQs for international law. Whatever the 4, 5, 6 links you may find, try to solve those as well if you find time. Sometimes it happens that examiners does this, but now the trend has changed, and I don't know from where they are framing the questions. Like they are framing on their own, and those are very complicated questions. For that you need to have a lot of concept clarity and a lot of MCQs to be solved. So these are the only sources. And when you do MCQs, now the how you should go for the MCQs. Take a pen, like try to find out the answer of the question out of 4 options. Then see the answer, what is the correct answer. Don't mark it on the book. Don't mark that. You may underline the question, you may circle the question, you may cross the question, or whatever way, if you find that you are not able to solve the question. But don't mark the answer on the question, because you have to revise it. If you mark the answer on the question, you won't be able to revise that, because in second revision or third revision or fourth revision of the MCQs, you have to apply your mind. And if you see the answer in front of you, you won't be able to apply the mind. So try to solve it for 3-4 times, 3-4 revisions of the MCQs. आफ्टर दैट मेक साइनॉप्सिस, मेक नोट्स ऑफ द MCQs. जो क्वेश्चन नहीं आ रहा है उसको नोट डाउन करके, उस पर रिसर्च करके, उस पर और केसेस देख के उसको एक तरीके से सॉल्व करो. क्योंकि जैसे मुझे याद है कि इन कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में जैसे कि जैसे कौन सी होती है रेफरेंस जुरिसडिक्शन, ये जो एडवाइजरी जुरिसडिक्शन ऑफ द प्रेसिडेंट, इसकी सुप्रीम कोर्ट की होती है, उसमें प्रेसिडेंट जो है वो उससे सीख कर सकता है सुप्रीम कोर्ट की एडवाइस. उस पे क्वेश्चन इस तरह से आते हैं कि केसेस के आपको 4-5 केसेस के नाम दिए जाएंगे, एंड दे विल आस्क यू टू अरेंज इन द फॉर्म ऑफ फ्रॉम द हायरार्की, फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट वन, सेकंड वन, थर्ड वन, ईयर वाइज. So for that you need to do a lot of practice. And अगर ऐसा कोई क्वेश्चन आता है उसी टाइम या तो आप लक्ष्मीकांत खोल सकते हो, या आप जे एन पांडे खोल सकते हो और उसके केसेस की लिस्ट बना सकते हो कि पहले कौन सा था, सेकंड कौन सा था, उसके बाद कौन सा आया। सो इस तरह से आपकी जो है प्रिपरेशन होगी। उसके बाद आप नोट्स ऑब्वियसली बनाओ, इसके भी साइनॉप्सिस बनाओ। तो इफ़ यू डू दिस मच आई थिंक that will be sufficient, and if everyone does this then the competition will be very high. So so this is the only approach to solve this paper. And I remember that I scored 76 marks out of 100. I attempted try to attempt as many as you can. I'll say go for 95 plus. I solved 97 questions and I skipped 3 questions, which would have been a very wild guess. So I solved 97 questions, and I think I got around 17 wrong and 80 correct. And out of the 17, there were 5 6 questions that were controversial, but still those were not changed by PSC. So um, this is the only way. Whatever I have told you, the books, the MCQs, the books for MCQs, the revisions, this is it. Nothing beyond this. And if this can be, if this be done properly, then there are quite high chances that you may get a very high score. Because, and one more thing, the rules have changed. Just corroborate this thing. The rules have changed. Earlier, the paper was of 100 mark, 1 mark for each question, and 1/4 deduction for the negative wrong answer. Uh, then the 100 marks were converted into 67 marks, and rest 25 marks for the interview, 67 plus 25 plus 4 marks for the LLM on pro rata basis, then 2 marks, I think 1 mark for the gold medal, 2 for the something, and 1 for the NCC, something like that. So this was the sequence earlier. Now they have changed it. Now it will be 86 marks for the written. The weightage of written exam will be 86 marks, and the LLM weightage has been reduced. मेरे पास LLM नहीं थी, तो उसका थोड़ा सा डैमेज हुआ मुझे ऑफ अप्रॉक्सीमेटली 3.5 marks. So the but now the LLM has been, the weightage has been reduced, and it is just 2 marks that too will be granted on pro rata basis. For example, if you have 50% in LLM, you will be given 1 mark out of 2. If you have 75%, you will be given like that way only. So the weightage of written exam has increased, and your score in written will be the deciding factor. And I think, as far as I remember, the interviews of 10 mark only, 10 or even less. But corroborate this fact, and from the rules of PSC, as has been shared in the groups and on the PSC website or on the internet. So this is a positive thing which I consider, because your performance will be evaluated on the basis of your written paper. So this is all about DLO ALR, and it's a short process, not a very long process. But in this short process, the competition is very cutthroat. But one thing is good about this, that whatever, if you hit a right answer, you will get the marks. For example, in mains, many times it happens that you may write a answer, and the examiner may not be pleased. And I have seen in through RTIs in mains that for the right answers, for the correct answers, they have given less marks, and for the wrong answers by similar other persons, they have given more marks. I have observed that fact in mains. So in this exam, this will not happen, because if you have hit the correct option, you will get the marks. No one can do anything. You will have the OMR sheets, you will have everything with you, copies of the OMRs, and transparency obviously will be very high. And interviews, interview will play only a very small role. So if you have high marks in the mains, this written exam, so interview will not matter much. So that's all about the strategy and the books, and a lot of practice is required. So that's all. So all the best to everyone who is aspiring for this job. It's a beautiful job with the good career prospects ahead. So, and it's a desk job. Like PU is not a desk job. This job is a desk job. The timing, you will have to sit a lot in this job, but it's quite interesting, and you will get an opportunity to to become a law officer of the state. So that's all. Work hard, and all the best to everyone who is appearing in the exam. Thank you very much.